Today I'm going to run a few benchmarks in order to gauge the system's performance and also compare it to other systems that I've benchmarked in the past. Since the last video, there's been one addition to the system, and that is some spinning Rust acting as a storage drive, allowing me to copy files between OS 9 and OS 10. Here's the hackery I've had to use in order to get you this video output, as my capture device wouldn't sync with the DVI output on the Radeon 9800 Pro, so I've had to convert its VGA output to HDMI. First up, I'm going to get things started with the SAF benchmark in order to gauge the system's video performance. In order to keep all things equal, I've got it set to run at 800 by 600 so that it can be compared to the various other systems that I've tested before. On this run, the system achieved a score of 41,838. Here are the results from the various systems that I've tested using this software, and this is where this score fits in. The interesting thing to note here is that this score is actually slightly lower than that achieved by the G4 digital audio, equipped with a single-core SONNET G4 upgrade running at 1.4 GHz with the 9800 Pro. That machine's running OS 10 Tiger, and this machine's running OS 10 Sorbet Leopard, so I think that might be a factor as to why this machine's slightly underperforming compared to the digital audio. I also ran the SAF bench test in OS 9.2 using the Radeon 9200 and got a score of 15,292. And here's where it fits in compared to the other machines that I've tested. Here the system bettered the score that was achieved by the G3 Blue and White, equipped with a 1 GHz Sonnet CPU upgrade and the Radeon 9200. What this shows you is the upper limit of the 9200's performance. Next, I'm going to run a Blender test, rendering test.blend to gauge the system's CPU performance. I really enjoy using Blender as a benchmark as it's an extremely stable method of gauging CPU performance across various machines. First up, I'm going to go into the performance settings to set it up. It auto-detects the system as being able to run 2 threads, and I'm going to set the tile setting to 16 by 16 as this is the optimal setting. It managed to render the scene in 1 minute 38 seconds and 71 split seconds. Here's the list of machines that I've tested using test.blend, and this is where this machine fits in, and from this you can tell that the CPU is performing exactly as it should. Next, I'm going to run the Geekbench benchmark, and the part of the result that I'm going to pay the most attention to is the drive performance, and particularly the random read and writes. Here's the drive performance result achieved during this run. I've run this benchmark many times, and this is the best drive performance result that I've got thus far. And the point of interest is the random read and write performance, as most of the reading and writing which happens as the system operates is random read and write. For the uncached write of random 4K blocks, the SSD performed 37.3 times faster than that of the original drive. For the uncached write of random 256K blocks, the SSD performed 4 times faster than the original drive. For the uncached read of random 4K blocks, the SSD performed 36.68 times faster than the original drive. For the uncached read of random 256K blocks, the SSD was 4.1 times faster than the original drive. These results show you that the SSD gives you a significant performance boost over the original drive that was installed in the system. For what it's worth, the overall score for the system was 73.25. Lastly, I'm going to run Geekbench 2.2.7 in order to get the machine's Geekbench score. On this run, it scored a score of 1,447. I've run this test a number of times, and the highest score I've got is 1,453. This score shows that the machine's performing exactly as it should, so I'm pretty happy with this score. To finish things off, I'm going to open up temperature monitor to show you the CPU temperature after all of this abuse. It's currently running at 60.3 degrees Celsius. The results from these tests show that the system is operating perfectly from a CPU standpoint. I am slightly disappointed in the result that I achieved in Geekbench. However, the fact that the system is running Sorbet Leopard is probably a factor here. I hope you enjoyed the video and thanks very much for watching.